thing is, it is just for 1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it
Yeah.
is literally like I cannot believe we're doing this again. Like, do you just have
True.
moments where you're like,
Yes.
how are we doing the sequel of the same thing?
Every minute of my day, I
Yeah.
go, the fuck is
Sorry.
this? Haven't we
Sorry.
been to this movie once before? Didn't we?
I
But
know.
look, I mean, they polled it, and then so Trump immediately jumped out and said, "This isn't my plan." And you notice what happened in the right during the campaign. Oh
Yeah.
no, no one would ever do that. That's absurd. How dare you suggest such a thing?
Yeah.
It's going to be Agenda 47, not Project 2025. And they went through this whole song and dance. It was always the plan. We all knew it was always the plan.
Always a plan.
Always.
But it is wildly unpopular. And when you make Elon Musk and his weirdo little Inso-Jungen or whatever they're called go out and do this and chainsaw through these
Yeah.
departments, it makes it worse for them.
Yeah.
The deployment of this idea, if I was in charge of this thing, it would be quiet, it would be subtle, it would be slow, it would be
Right.
under the radar, but it would be worse because nobody would have that boiling point moment. And America is furious.
Right.
Absolutely furious.
People do not want to have to make mom and dad or grandma move back home in the spare bedroom.
That's right.
They don't want kids to have freaking measles in this country.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
want all of this garbage that Trump's trying to shove down their throats in a 3-month period with Elon at the helm of it. It doesn't. It's just
Right.
aesthetically and politically not working for him. But hey, he should continue to do as much for himself in that regard as he wants to, because I'm here for him crashing his numbers down 11 points in 30 days. It takes a lot to do that.
So
Yeah.
is that Trump's numbers or is that Elon's numbers?
Well, that's Trump's numbers. Elon's numbers are much worse than Trump's.
Yeah, I would hope.
I saw some polling on Elon the other day that was just like, this is not the guy you invite to a party at this point.
Right.
No.
Well,
He is unpopular.
He's about as popular as the old owner of the Washington Commanders / Redskins, Dan Snyder.
Right.
You know,
well,
maybe.
what you see with Elon and why you see people are angry is you see these town halls, right? People freaking out at town halls,
Yeah.
but you also see like the graffiti. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh, yeah.
endless anti-Elon graffiti. And I feel like the fact, and also then you have people burning Tesla showrooms, which no
Yeah.
one don't do violence, don't damage property.
Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Especially if you're in France, where the French are very fiery, let me tell you. But yeah, so we're seeing a ton of that, which I think is pretty
Oh,
unusual.
I've seen these bumper stickers people are putting on their Teslas now with the no Elon through it, or I bought this before Elon Musk went crazy.
Before I knew he was an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a good sign when people are putting those kinds of stickers on his product.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, look,
Yeah.
you saw the numbers. It's down 75% in Germany, down 65% in France, down 50% in the US.
Yeah.
And all of Elon's power is derived from the power of Tesla stock.
Right.
Yeah.
All of it is derived from that one thing.
Right.
The fact that he's the richest man in the world is because Tesla stock is basically operating like normal automakers. They operate at about a 10 times valuation, or about a 4 times valuation. Tesla's at about a 10 times.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's on paper phenomenally wealthy.
Right.
He's burned through about a quarter of that phenomenal wealth in the last month, because the stock price of Tesla is just taking a beating. The market is teaching it a lesson, and it's because they don't like the externality of the guy supposedly running the big sophisticated car company becoming one of the most hated men in America.
Right.
It's not a great look.
It's why corporates, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's why corporations don't get involved in politics, right? I mean, there's a reason that if you're on a corporate board, they don't want you going on Twitter, right? Or they don't want you going on CNN. I mean, this is, because it's just another externality that is not going to help anyone. And so I do think that is right. I also think I'm still not convinced why I mean, I get that they're cutting the federal government to pay for this tax cut but I still don't understand. It's Donald Trump. He's the king of debt. Why doesn't he just grow the deficit? I mean, that's where it's going anyway. Like, I just don't understand the cutting, ultimately.
And then they concentrate on the real scenario they need to bicker on. Gather around for the circus. Trump promised it wouldn't be a circus, but remember when Trump claimed he'd have all the best people? Well, it turns out the best people were just the best at creating chaos with a capital C, literally from the get-go. Trump was more focused on signing executive actions with a flourish than actually reading them. Remember that one? The one about bringing manufacturing back. Day one. Well, that was last seen heading south faster than retirees to Florida in the winter. Then there's Elon Musk, Trump's sidekick in turning government into an episode of Survivor. Musk's idea of cutting waste is like, well, using a flamethrower to trim your hedges. Effective, kind of maybe, but a disaster waiting to happen. And definitely in his latest stunt, Elon, well, he's fired half the federal workforce. They realise he's got to rehire them for the next week because they're actually doing important stuff like, I suppose, guarding our nukes, running food safety. Don't get me started on eggs. Well, not yet. Let's not forget, by the way, Trump's promise to end the Ukraine war on day one, in one day. Bad impression. Troops, the only thing he's actually ended is America's credibility. At this point, his strategy seems to be tweeting threats in all caps. Because if it's loud, in his world, it must be true, right? Yeah. The economy. Trump's got a plan for that too. It involves tariffs that make about as much sense as a fish needing a bicycle. Ask Trudeau. Under Trump, the stock market is like a drunk on the trampoline. Lots of ups and downs, and you're always one bad decision away from disaster. Marco Rubio, well, he's been in the news too. He's quietly seething every time Trump tweets. Rubio's so frustrated, he might just switch to decaf to avoid shaking on the Senate floor or shriveling into the seat in the White House. He thought he'd be steering the ship. Turns out he's just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Well done, Marco. What a promotion for you. Not. And for the grand finale of Trump's first month, let's talk about his press conferences, rallies, whatever it is. They're less political gatherings and more like open mic nights where facts go to die. Trump's still out there, folks, tossing paper towels to problems and hoping they'll clear themselves up as Fox News and co. rush to, kiss the ring. Remember this, yeah? If you thought Trump's first term was a roller coaster, we're into, 5 weeks of the new one. Strap in, because this one's shaping up to be a whole amusement park of crazy. And at this rate, who knows? Seriously, by next month, we might just miss the days when all we had to worry about was a tweet or something on X.